Today I will teach you everything you need to know about Urgot to play in your next ranked games. At the end of the video we will add tips and tricks, so stay tuned. Now let's get into it. Alright, let's start out with the runes. Runes are extremely important. So on Urgot you want to start with PTA, then you go Triumph, and the next one you want to mostly have Tenacity, but in some rare instances you do want to opt in to have the lifesteal Bloodline. Now the reason you want to have Bloodline is if you're against ranged champions that are just gonna poke you and you don't need Tenacity. But mostly Tenacity is the way to go. Then the last one you want to have Coup de Grace, if you have champions that you dominate and can kill. And if it's kind of closer matchups, you want to have Last Stand. For example, if you're playing against a Renekton, you want to opt in for Last Stand. In the second rune, there's two choices. Either you go Resolve or Inspiration, they both work. Now for the Resolve ones, you can take Demolish if you have a super easy lane and you just want to take towers. That's a possibility, mostly you don't want to opt in for that one. Then you can also go Second Wind or Bone Plating. Both of these are extremely good. Second Wind if you're taking poke against a ranged champion, for example. Bone Plating if you want to be fighting people melee, for example against a Renekton. And you can also opt in for Conditioning, I guess, but that's only if you have a super easy lane where you don't need anything else. The last one, you generally only want to have either Overgrowth or Unflinching. Overgrowth if you just want to scale, have some health, not really that important. And Unflinching is if you're going to be CC'd and low on health. So this is something you take very rarely, but it can have a massive impact if you take it at the right times. So be careful and make sure you look at Unflinching when you're choosing your runes. It can actually be really good. Now the other thing you can take as well is you can go Magical Footwear and Inspiration, and then you can also take Time Up Tonic for more movement speed. Movement speed is super useful, especially in a champ like Urgot that wants to catch people off guard. So it can make the difference, but you gotta opt in and figure out what do you actually want to have. Mostly I'll go Resolve myself, but you still gotta make the choice for you. Now for the small runes you want to have either attack damage or attack speed in the first one. It doesn't matter which one you take. Attack damage is slightly better, but attack speed feels a lot better, so you can play better with the attack speed one. The second one you want to have attack damage, and the third one you want to have armor unless you really need magic resist. So unless you're against something where you just need that magic resist, take the armor because it also helps against minions. Now let's get into Urgot's exciting items. The first thing you want to do is level 1. Mostly Dawn's Blade and Potion. You can do Dawn's Shield and Potion as well if you really need it, but generally Blade. And also if you go Inspiration with the Time Up Tonic, then you can go Corrupting Potion, but that's only if you go Inspiration in my opinion. Now after you get that, then you need to get to the next items, and for the next item, the Mythic, you want to have Stridebreaker. Stridebreaker is just amazing Urgot. You can launch forward, it's just perfect with him. Now one thing to note, while building Stridebreaker, you want to start out by getting an Iron Spike Whip. This item is amazing because it allows you to push faster, and pushing is king right now, which means having that control and being able to use it as choice is just extremely good. So Iron Whip first, then you can go into either Hardbound Axe if it's a really easy lane, or Kindegem if it's a harder lane and you want to have some cooldown and some health. After you complete your Stridebreaker, you want to start getting Boots. Boots is going to be plated steel caps or mercury treads in almost all cases. Then after you've gotten those ones, it's time to get Titanic Hydra. This item is absolutely amazing on Urgot. He can boost it super hard, and this is the item you want to have. Once you have Titanic Hydra, now you get into an interesting situation. What are you going to be against? What do you want to do? Are you going to be kind of solo and just chilling a little bit? Then Styx is amazing. Are you against a lot of AD with a lot of crits? Well, Range is pretty good at this point. There's also a situation where you're like, I really just need to be able to kite people and have a lot of movement speed. Black Cleaver is really nice for that. And last but not least, you can also go Gargoyle Stoneplate if you just want to be a master teamfight bot. You want to get in there and get a big shield and just fight it out. All of these items works really well, and you need to find the one that fits your specific situation with the explanations I gave you. Now, after you have those items, you just want to keep building the rest of those kind of items until you finish your build. Now, I'm going to mention some niche items that you can also add in there. So there's Death Dance, which is really good if you're dominating and you're ahead, and you can become an unkillable Urgot that cannot die because you have too much healing. That is nice if you're dominating, but don't buy it if you're losing. Then you have Chimpunk Chainsword or Thornmail, which is also really, really good in cases that you do need that anti-heal, but often if you can have other people have it, that's also very nice. Alright guys, now let's get into skill order on Urgot. So on Urgot, it's actually a little trick that I'll teach you guys. So first you skill E, then you generally skill W unless you really need Q because of the range. Then you skill Q third, then after that you want to skill E again. And after you have the second level in E, you want to max W, then you max E, and last you max Q. Now the reason for the second skill in E is because you won't get max level W till 9 anyways. So it's fine to skill E twice. It gives you a little bit stronger early game, and then you can max W at level 9 regardless. So it doesn't really change anything for you. Alright, let's get into some Urgot interactions that are very important to know. The first one that's extremely important to know is if you hit an ability on an opponent, your W is going to target that opponent. Which means if you're fighting an enemy in the middle of the minions and you hit your Q, you can press W and you're going to be able to fight them. Same with with E as well. Now, if you don't hit, then you can't fight people in minion waves because you're going to be targeting minions and you most likely end up losing fights because of that. Now, the next thing you need to know is Urgot flash E. Or it's the E flash. So you E and then you flash and then you grab them, right? This is really important to know. Really important to hit it because that's how you get most of your kills. It is the most deadly tool you have. Now, another thing you need to know is Urgot's E have two phases. The first phase is getting a shield. If we use my E right now, you'll see this small charge up. During that time, you get a shield. The second phase is where you get the dash, which means if you're about to get CC'd, you can actually use your E and get out of that CC that people are firing at you, because the second phase isn't getting interrupted. It also means if you're playing against Urgot, let's say you're playing against Urgot for one time, right? You need to stop Urgot doing the second animation and not doing the first. If you do it during the preparation, he's still gonna grab you. But if you do it while he's jumping towards you, you will stop it. Now, the next thing I want to teach you is how the W works. This is mainly used for when you're taking towers. So you want to auto attack, W1, 2, 3, auto attack, W1, 2, 3, auto attack, W1, 2, 3, auto attack, W1, 2, 3. I messed one of those up with twice of those, right? But that's generally how you want to do it to optimize your damage, especially when you're taking towers or objectives like the crab or herald and things like that. I hope this helped and I hope it gave you a lot more insight on Urgot, and I'll see you next time. Peace, boys.